The first component that I want to discuss is the storage class. So you already know API version, kind, and metadata, but the API version is different here, which is storage.kts.io/v1. And the kind, of course, is storage class. Metadata is pretty straightforward, but I want you to notice the provisioner here. Now, this provisioner actually determines what volume plugin is used for provisioning the persistent volumes. So as I told you in the previous lecture that the provisioning of persistent volumes dynamically is offloaded by the storage class to the cloud service provider. So which cloud service provider is used is mentioned here in this provisioner keyword. Now in this case, the provisioner is AWS EBS. Of course, we can have Google Cloud Compute Engine persistent disk. We can have Azure File or Azure Disk. We can have iSCSI device and a lot of other options. Now in parameters, we have type GP2, which is specific to AWS. Similarly, if the provisioner is something else, then you would mention parameters specific to that provisioner. For example, if you are using GCE PD, then the parameter will be completely different than that of this one, because this is specific to AWS. Then you have reclaim policy. There are two types of reclaim policies. One is retain and the other one is delete. Reclaim policy says that what will happen once the persistent volume is deleted. Should we go ahead and delete the storage class also? So if you mention retain, of course the storage class will not be deleted. If you mention delete, it will be deleted. Then you have allow volume expansion, which is used to configure whether the persistent volumes can be expanded or not. Now, as we have set it to true, it will allow users to resize the volume by editing the corresponding persistent volume claim object, which we'll see shortly. That means we can increase and decrease the time. So let's not talk about mount options. There are a lot of mount options available. The other thing that I want to talk about is volume binding mode. It can be either immediate or wait for first consumer. Immediate indicates that the volume binding and the dynamic provisioning will happen immediately the moment we use persistent volume claim or the moment we create persistent volume claim. So if we use wait for first consumer, what will happen is that the provisioning of the persistent volume will be delayed till the time the pod actually starts using the persistent volume. We can go ahead and create the persistent volume claim, but it will not be created because the binding option has been mentioned as wait for first consumer. More often than not, you'll be using volume binding mode to be immediate. So this is what storage class does. So let us go ahead and create the storage class. We'll be able to create the storage class, but when you use persistent volume claim, our claim would fail because we have not associated or have not provided any AWS cloud plugin to our Kubernetes cluster that we created using kubeadm. So let us go ahead and create it. The storage class has been created, and so if I do a kubectl get sc, I'll see that the storage class has been created and the provisioner is kubernetes.io/aws ecs with other things like reclaim policy, volume binding mode, allow volume expansion, etc. We can go ahead and describe this storage class also, and it will give us the same information that we used to create the storage class. Now, one more thing I forgot to mention is that storage class is not bound by any namespace. Now, if I do a kubectl get storage class and provide the other namespace that we have, we can see the storage class in that namespace also. So the storage class is actually associated with all the namespaces that we see here. Let's try to get it from kubesystem namespace. We should be able to get the same information for kubesystem namespace as well. So that's what storage class is, but as I said, it will not work in our cluster because we did not provide any cloud service plugin while creating the cluster, and we can't change it right now. We'll have to delete the cluster and create it again. Let's not do it because anyway we'll be using the cloud service provider.